What's something that seems obvious within your profession that the general public seems to misunderstand? A good bakery will have fresh products every day. If you come in the late afternoon, they will probably be sold out of many of your favorites. Also, if you come early and buy all of the chocolate chip cookies, no one else will get any that day. The remedy to both of these problems is ordering in advance. There is absolutely no aspect of shoeing a horse that hurts it. We've been shoeing horses for around 2,000 years now, and providing I do everything correctly, which is why we have a 4-year apprenticeship in Britain, our dear quadrupes won't feel a thing. Museum security. No, I don't have a gun. I'm here to tell you where the bathrooms are, not take a bullet for the Monet. No one tries to steal the artwork. I have to be here because you absolutely will try to touch that $1 million painting with your greasy hands. I am a grave digger. It is 2019. I don't dig the grave with a shovel. But do you all live on site, only work at night, and wear raincoats 24/7 still? Don't forget the lantern with a single, dim candle in it that they wield. When arc welding, you must protect all your skin from the light, not just your eyes. The light is the real danger, not the heat. Welding unprotected is like putting your face right in front of a tanning bed of steroids. I work at the front desk of a hotel. I don't understand why people get mad a room is not ready at 8 a.m. when we were sold out the previous night. I constantly have to explain that checkout time is at 11 and that check-in time is at 4. I cannot kick a guest out of a room that they are entitled to for the next 3 hours. Antibiotics are not a treatment for common cold, flu. Turning it off and on again actually does fix a great deal of problems. Radiographer. People get x-rayed in order of need. Just because you were first in line with your broken pinky doesn't mean that you get served before. The skull fracture. Anesthesiology. If you eat before your surgery, the chances of you dying or getting badly hurt increase exponentially. Anesthesia makes you more likely to vomit, and since you're unconscious, you can't prevent your acidic throw-up from going into your lungs. When you take out a loan to purchase something, then you return it, sell it, cancel it, or whatever, you kinda still need to pay off your loan. It doesn't go away when what you bought with it does. I worked for a credit card company and heard this kind of thing often. Person buys a TV with their credit card, person returns TV and buys a laptop from the same store. Person complains you're making them pay for a TV. They don't even have. Person accuses you of being a thief when you ask them what paid for the laptop. Always blew my mind. Pets need dental care. Also, the fact that they are still eating and not making noise does not mean infected teeth don't hurt. My dog had a couple bad teeth pulled, and at 10 years old, he's more excited about life than he ever was at it. If you think your dog is lethargic or lazy, he just might have bad teeth that hurt. Lawyer. The biggest issue I see with the general public and within my client company is that just because you're mad doesn't mean you're right. More specifically, just because you're mad doesn't mean you have a legal basis to take action. Telling me your feelings about fairness, inequality, etc. isn't the same thing as actually stating a claim. Being able to explain this to a client instead of wasting the client's time and money on a frivolous suit is what it takes to be a good lawyer. Call center employees really do not have the option to transfer you to the president, owner, CEO of the company, no matter how hard you complain. You're lucky if you even manage to get transferred out of the room they are in. If you leave any door open or don't clean, you will eventually get pests. I regularly go to factories that had every garage door open and they wonder why they have mice. I also go to bars that have inches of syrupy goodness underneath all the appliances and they can't understand why they keep getting fruit flies. Exclusion and sanitation is the main form of pest control. I can't make the damn milky coffee any hotter because then it boils, and when you boil milk with a steamer it either curdles or burns. And then you complain and I have to give you your money back and or make you another coffee that you will insist I boil at it. You can't pour hot water in the cup when it's a to-go paper cup. Microwaving the coffee will still make it boil. Microwaving a coffee will either get me an irate customer or an irate employer anyway. I want this as a sign on my espresso machine at work. Dogs understand always and never. If you have a rule that they can't beg for table scraps, get on the couch, or jump on people, but you let them do it occasionally, they will never understand why you correct or yell at them. Also, if you hire a dog trainer, please remember that about 80% of the training is directed toward the owner and 20% toward the dog. We just tend to say it in a way so as not to offend you. Some people just cannot fathom that they need the training and that dogs will simply follow suit. I work in the financial sector. Yes, you do need to provide proof of your income. No one will lend you huge sums of money without knowing whether you have the means to repay it. Edit. Should have made it clear I am in the patient transporter for a hospital here. If you have any kind of fall risk like possible stroke or whatever, we have to put a gate belt on you and make you use bed chair alarms unless you sign a waiver. Otherwise, if you fall and that gate belt isn't on, we are instantly very fired. Quit making my life miserable and let me just put the damn belt on. Providing for my femme overshadows your stubbornness. Where I work, if you are wearing a yellow armband, you will be wearing a gate belt. Men are the worst when it comes to this. Everything is a chemical. No. Natural does not mean it's safe or better. Graphic designer here. We need a vector version of your logo, or at the very least a large image of it. No. We can't blow up that tiny pixelated one you use in your email. This pain is so real. One time, when I asked a salesperson for their client's logo, and she handed me their business card telling me to rip it off the card. Another time I asked a client for their logo, and I kid you not when I say, I received a Word document. Inside the Word document was a screenshot of their desktop, where they opened up a file of their logo and were viewing it. I just wide. Mechanical engineers are not mechanics. Computer engineers do not fix your computer. Astronomer here. We don't actually just sit up all night looking at stars. No one actually has that job. Instead, like most things these days, I download data from telescopes off the internet that an observer takes for me and analyze them in my office. I have literally published papers using data taken by telescopes I've never seen. There are definitely still some telescopes you need to visit to take data, but they are fewer and fewer these days. Just because I'm an engineer doesn't mean I can fix and understand everything. There are 40 different types of engineering degrees. A chemical engineer may not know how a bridge works. A mechanical engineer cannot clone you. A biological engineer cannot tell you how many cats you can fit in your house without the floor collapsing. Don't try and guess the letters on the test chart. The whole point of the exam is for us to give you the best vision possible. Surprisingly enough, that relies on us knowing what you can't see. I'm in forestry. More trees does not make a healthier forest. Healthy, well-spaced trees with inconsistencies make a healthy forest. Yes, it's necessary to remove trees to improve the quality of habitat and lower risk of wildfire. No, we are not all money-hungry tree murderers. It is not a teacher's job to potty train your child. You need to work on that at home before they're ready to start school. Some classes have 30 kids. We just can't take the time to work on things like that with your kid when there's 29 other kids who also need attention. Soon to be doctor. The HPV vaccine does not turn your daughter or son into a raving slut. It protects her from cervical cancer, and you're a bad parent for refusing it. The biggest medical device markets are dominated by monopolies or cooperating duopolies. One of the reasons us healthcare is so expensive is because they basically charge whatever they want and have no incentive to lower costs or improve their product offerings. Law is not all sexy courtroom antics. Most is done long before something goes to trial. In fact, many senior attorneys have never conducted a trial. There are rules, like a lot of them. Someone cannot be Saul Goodman and not lose their license to practice. There are rules on advertising in the US. I know most countries are more restrictive. There are rules on how to ask a question in court. What is allowed to be asked? When something may be asked, there are certain things which can only be brought up if a certain trigger occurs. That trigger It's usually something the other side does. There are rules on conflicts of interest. Some can be waived by the client. I could continue, but you get the picture. Law isn't like a fun TV series or video game. When you order food, it has to be made by a person in a kitchen. If you try to change the order after we have entered and mostly made it, we have a large chance of getting something wrong simply because what you want is no longer on our computer screen. I'm a translator, sure. Maybe you don't like my rates, but I assure you that your relative who spent a semester as an exchange student in Spain will not deliver quality work. Maybe you know a second language, but translation involves techniques more complex than knowing how to order a beer in Spanish. Computer science, artificial intelligence will not overthrow humanity and conquer the world anytime soon. Also, no, I cannot fix your hard drive. Bud Light spent a lot of time during the Super Bowl shaming Miller for having corn adjuncts. Well, Bud uses rice adjuncts, and both corn and rice do little to flavor. They're meant to boost alcohol so that neither company spends much money on malt, which is where most flavor is derived from. That's the real reason they taste so shitty. Bud Light also shamed me. Fuck you. Mead is amazing. It's the drink of the hero. It's probably as old as beer is. 2. It's not a drink for wimps, it's a drink for Vikings. You should all know there's better booze out there than factory beer. Working with online casinos, no. There are no magic buttons that can be pushed to make the slots pay out. When casinos operate legally, it is completely random and strictly regulated. Oceanographer here. Climate change is a thing, and we are causing it. We can see the effects. I have literally gone to coral reefs that have bleached, and the reason is because the ocean has become more acidic. We did that. Respectfully, get your heads out of your asses. Thanks for watching. Share your stories in the comments.